looking for the sun, still looking for warm weather, but people, we are here. I am so excited in this list of participants or list of attendees. I see some awesome names that I have seen for the past couple of 4 weeks. This is awesome. Great to have you here with us. Sharon, we do not need to wait for Jason, correct? No, you're taking over. Okay, awesome. Well, without further ado, I think we're all here. We're all ready to go. Welcome everyone on this last chilly week in April. If you are coming to us from Minnesota, maybe you might be in a warmer state. And if so, you could send us some sunshine and some warm temperatures, because those of us here in Minnesota are not really getting an adequate spring. But welcome everyone. I'm Carrie Shane Davis Zimmerman. Myself and a few others on this call have been with you over the past couple of weeks during the month of April doing our spring webinar series for FYX. Tonight is another super important night. We're going to talk about academic advising, the class registration process. And again, we're going to review with you some very important academic resources that we have for you. We're joined by a special student guest, Kayla O'Leary. Kayla, thanks for being with us tonight. My partner in crime for FYX for the first year experience is Andrew Kroska, so a warm welcome to him. So as we've been sort of saying all throughout this webinar series this spring in April, if you don't already know this, that the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University have what's called the first year experience. And this is really just this campus-wide partnership that we have for first-year students that really takes them from the time that they enroll all the way through their freshman year to the end. And so we're just getting ready to actually get to the point with our current first years where we're so proud of them and they're going to be sophomores. I just was teaching today and I said it's hard to believe we only have one more class period together. One more week. I think they want several more weeks because finals week is next week. But really the first year experience is meant to take you through your entire first year. And so some of the resources that we've been offering you this spring, what the first year experience really involves is this webinar series. And again, we started back on April 5th. And we just welcomed you and talked about the academic and co-curricular experience. And then on the 12th, we talked about involvement, ways to be engaged throughout your 4 years at St. Ben's and St. John. And then last week was a super fun one that covered the residential experience, and everybody wanted to know about roommates and filling out that housing form that you can see on this slide is due June 1st. And then tonight is really important because we want to talk to you about a second form that is going to be due on June 1st, the advising and class registration form. Like we've done in the past, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the Q&A for us. That's the easiest way for all of these panelists to be able to answer your questions. And what we'll do along the way is the panelists will talk and then sometimes we stop, sometimes we say a little, we interrupt things. So there's no perfect flow to this. We just, we want to be here to respond to you. I will say this, our presentation's a little bit short tonight. And, you know, if you have a burning question about the residential experience that you couldn't get asked last week, of course you can ask it tonight, right? While we do want to focus on the advising and class registration form, nothing's off limits, right? That's why we're here for you tonight. So besides the spring webinar series, remember, if you have not set up your email, we would love you to start setting up your St. Ben's and St. John's email account. We've got directions on how to do that. And I know we can also address that if you have questions. You can reach out to your admissions representative. Besides the spring, what we're going to transition to in the summer is two different things. We're going to relaunch the webinar series in the summer, starting around mid-June and going through about mid-August, covering some similar topics, but also adding stuff in like financial aid, student employment, updating things about housing and all that good stuff. That entire schedule for you in the summer webinar series is actually on the First Year Experience website. Also on that website, if you missed any of the webinars in April, you can go back and just click the little link that says watch the video, and you can see that. The other thing we're going to provide for your new student is starting around June 15th, we'll be doing our Beginning the Journey new student online orientation course. What's really slick about that is that the platform that it uses, Canvas, is actually the same platform that we use in the classrooms. And so your student will be getting used to using Canvas, using the Hive, and getting really familiar with the technology platform, so that by the time they actually walk to their first class on Monday, August 29th, which it's going to be here before we know it, right? But let's not think about that right now. When they walk in on Monday, August 29th, they're going to have a really good sense when their faculty instructor says, open up your Canvas. They'll know how to do that, right? So a lot of things provided to your student over the summer months that are really meant to bridge everything for them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to see if, well, Jody stuck away, and I didn't know, Jody, if you needed to say anything. I just wanted to give a, nope, she doesn't. Okay. Jody Terhart is our Dean of Students at St. Ben's. So she is joining us along for the ride. Jody and Tom and I will be in the background sort of saying things in the chat and answering the questions. But really the star of the show is Sharon and Kyle and Sarah and Teresa and Kayla, who are really going to help you understand the form and all of the resources that we have for you. So I'm going to pass things over to Sharon, who is from Academic Advising. Thanks so much, Sharon.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. I am Sharon Wenner, and I'm an academic advisor on campus. So I just want to talk a little bit about kind of the process to get registered for fall semester. So you will not actually register yourself. What you will do is in the forms portal, which will be, well, this form will be available on May 1st. So that's, this coming Sunday, I think. It will be available to you to go in and complete the form. And so what we will do is advisors in our office will use the information that you provide on that form and create a really appropriate individualized first semester schedule for you. And then by August 1st, it will be available for you to view online on Banner, which you will learn, we have instructions on how to access. And then if you have questions, concerns about your schedule at that time, you could talk to an advisor in our office. And so one of the main reasons we do this is so that we can get really good information from you. And then we as advisors can create the schedules that will get you on the right track, get you in the classes that are really appropriate. And then, and also so that the first schedule we create, is as good as the last schedule that we create. We can see and look at the demand for certain courses and say, hey, we're going to need some more biology courses because we have a lot of biology majors coming in, and we can go and say, you know what, we need some more intro bio courses, so that the last person we register can get into the appropriate courses that they need to be on track. And so that form, like I said, the advising and registration form goes live on May 1st. And so you have from May 1st to June 1st to complete that form online. It's going to ask you questions like, what are you planning to major in? What language have you studied in high school? What math courses have you taken in high school? If you've taken college in the schools or PSEO courses, what have you taken? And those types of questions and answers, so that we can see how best to register you for fall. Okay, and then students cannot go in and make changes themselves. All changes to your schedule get facilitated through our office and through advisors in our office, so that we can make sure that you are not making changes or dropping classes that you need. Or if you change your mind from the time you fill out the form till the start of fall, we can certainly make changes in August. So you just contact our office after August 1st when those first semester schedules are available for viewing, and we can certainly talk through questions or if there are any changes that need to be made. So our office also can help answer questions about AP, IB, PSEO, CIS courses that you've taken and how those might transfer. So even though we're going to ask you to list those courses on that advising and registration form, It's going to also be important for you after your final grades are posted in those, that official transcripts get sent from, your high school transcript, but it's also the college transcript from wherever that PSEO or CIS credit is granted through. That needs to get sent to us too. That's how those credits get transferred, making sure through College Board that your AP scores get sent to us as well. And so that's kind of the process. You're not assigned a specific advisor in our office. We're all professional advisors in our office that we serve all students. So you can always contact our office. We'll be a resource for you, of course, through the summer and actually through the first week of school in the fall. You can make schedule changes, but it has to be done through our office. So in addition to our office, you'll also have your first year faculty advisor, which will be a great resource for you to answer just other logistical questions. And then you'll also have a college success instructor, which can answer questions. But our office is really the only ones that can help you make any schedule changes, so that we can make sure that you're really feeling good about your fall semester schedule and that you're really on the right path to be able to pursue your areas of interest, your majors, minors, programs, all that kind of stuff. And if you have questions along the way, don't hesitate to contact us. You can see there'll be information on our academic advising homepage. A lot of this is described in the advising and registration form as well. There's contact information, phone numbers. So please don't hesitate to contact us. So if you have questions tonight, I'm happy to answer them. But that's kind of just the general recap of the process to get registered. So, all right, is that all right, Carrie Shane?
Yes, that is perfect. So Teresa, do you want to say a bit about, I just wanted to refresh everyone about the integrations curriculum. And then the next slide is also from the academic advising website about majors, minors, and all that kind of stuff. Do you want to just say a quick few words about our integrations curriculum? And really,
maybe you meant Sharon.
Yes, I meant Sharon. What did I say?
You said Teresa.
Sorry, I meant Sharon. The Zoom link craziness. What's going on with me tonight? I don't know. Yes, sorry, I meant Sharon. Yes.
No problem at all. So so you will, in your first semester, you will have a combination of integrations curriculum courses, which is our kind of gen ed curriculum, liberal arts type of courses. So you'll probably have 2 courses that were fulfilling requirements in that, and then 1 or 2 courses in your major minor area of study. And so it's always going to be some combination of integrations curriculum and majors and major and minor coursework. So you'll have great coursework like ways of thinking, which are different, like humanities type courses, social world, natural world, fine arts types of courses. So those are, to help you learn in different ways, different lenses. You'll also have, engaged learning. You will have experiential learning requirements, global engagement requirements, all that kind of wonderful stuff that, if you study abroad. And then also some other, core skills as far as like abstract structures, quantitative reasoning, some other, your language, theology courses. You get to take 2 awesome theology courses, one at a 100 level, and then a kind of a topical one at a 300 level. And then also some integrations 100 course, a kind of a writing composition, kind of an intro to that. And then at the end of your 4 years, you'll also have an integrations 300 course, which will kind of tie the whole liberal arts learning together to hopefully make meaning for you, so that it really can be purposeful for you and you understand why liberal arts is so important. So it's kind of just a general recap of those. And then major, minors, and pre-professional programs. Again, most likely you will have probably 2 courses that will go towards those areas. You can learn more about those, what we have to offer. Under the academic advising webpage, we have a link that has the major, minor, and pre-professional programs, as well as just under the A to Z index under M, you'll see majors, minors. That lists all the different options that you can choose. So if you don't know what we offer, make sure you look at those so that you can see, what you might find interesting.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. So the other thing I wanted to also say too, that's on the academic advising website. I think we do a really good job of also helping people explore, right? I don't want any student, I think Sharon would agree with me, we don't need every student to come in and think, I need to know exactly what I want to do for these next 4 years. And so also on the academic advising website, I kind of pulled this off, the whole idea of researching a major, right? And so that is stuff that we will help you with in the college success course in your whole entire first year. And many years beyond that, right? Students change their majors, and we work with you to make that process happen, right? So I definitely wanted to send a strong message along with Sharon and everybody else on this call that you do not need to show up knowing what your major and minor is. And that's why I would definitely say to parents, if your son or daughter is not decided on a major and minor, it's okay. This is the really nice thing I think about Sharon and all the other professional staff in academic advising, of them actually making your son or daughter schedule, because they're going to make sure that the courses that they're taking are actually going to count towards something. So all of that matters. Sharon, before we move on to student accessibility services, which I'm also going to ask you to talk about, by the way, we had a great great question about the foreign language placement exam. Can you type something, or can you say something about the foreign language exam again?
Yes, so when you fill out the advising and registration form, it will ask you how much language you've studied in high school, and then which language you would like to, pursue to fulfill the language requirement. So students need to complete through the third semester of a college level language to fulfill our global language requirement. Now, some students may have taken all 4 years of high school and have actually gotten PSEO credit for intermediate Spanish 1, let's say, and that transfers in. That's great. That fulfills our language requirement. That's the third semester of a language. But if you've just taken high school language, we want you to take a global language placement exam, because high school language varies so much from high school to high school. Some 3 years of high school language maybe, cover so much in one high school, but the next one might go 3 more chapters, or you might learn so much more. And students retain information at a different level. So we want students that have studied, let's say Spanish, or Spanish, French, and German are the 3 placement exams that we have that we offer for students if they've studied the language in high school. And we want you to take that placement exam so that would show us what level you are best suited to start at the college level. Okay. Now, you can't test out of a language from the placement exam. It's strictly a placement exam. But if, let's say, you take the placement exam and you test beyond our language requirement, then you have the option to either take a course here at that level, or at the highest, the intermediate 1 level, or you can meet with the Hispanic Studies Department and take a proficiency exam, which is an oral and a written exam in person once you get to campus. That will deem you proficient and maybe, test you out of the language requirement. But the placement exam doesn't. So it doesn't do you any good to look up answers or do any of that kind of stuff when you're taking it, because if you place too high, then you're going to be placed in a high level that's way over your head, and you're going to be totally lost, because you have to take a course, if you don't place beyond that. And so I really encourage you to just use do the exam by just your memory, so that you're placed appropriately in the Spanish class. And so let's say you place in the second semester of college level Spanish, then you just have to take the second and the third. And so that's, you just have to complete through the third semester to the intermediate 1 level. And that would fulfill our language requirement. So you can find that exam under the academic advising webpage. You'll be able to find it. There should also be a link and instructions when you fill out the advising and registration form as well.
Awesome.
It's also under the Hispanic Studies Department webpage too. So kind of in 3 places.
And Mary is asking if you have taken CIS Spanish courses. Do you need to take the placement test?
If you have taken CIS Spanish courses and it's transcripted as intermediate Spanish 1, then that will fulfill our requirement. If it's beginning Spanish 1 or beginning Spanish 2, then those are the first 2 semesters. But if you actually complete through the third semester of college level language, which is usually entitled, Intermediate Spanish 1, that will transfer in, fulfill the requirement. And if you don't plan to take any further Spanish, you do not have to take the exam.
Great. Okay. And so let's do, Abby's asked a great question. Is the exam available online, or where does the student take the exam? And so let's just tell all the students, and I can put this in the chat too. Tom, maybe you could actually put this in the chat for us. Where do they go to take this exam, and when do you want them ideally taking it?
Yep, I would encourage them on May 1st to do the advising and registration form, and it will give you instructions on how to take the exam at that time. So I would say fill out the advising and registration form after May 1st and beyond, and then take the exam at that point with the instructions that are in that.
So really, you get access to the Spanish, the language placement test by filling out the form, the advising form.
It's just the easiest way at that point, because it will have the links on the side for them to access it.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, everyone, you're asking great questions, both in the chat and in the Q&A. If you can put your questions in the Q&A, all the different panelists can chime in and kind of help us do that. Sharon, can I put you on the spot one more time and say a word about our student accessibility services?
Right. Yep. I just wanted to answer the one other question I see. So no matter what, do you have to take a language, even if your major is business? Yes. All students have to complete a global language requirement. So I'll just quick answer that one. So in addition to academic advising, we also have a great student accessibility services office on campus. So if you are eligible for accommodations with documented conditions, definitely contact their office, and we will ask that question in the advising and registration form, and it will have a to-do once you click on that, it will have kind of a to-do list on there of some things that they're asking you to do. And then we will also give that list to that office at that point after you fill out the advising and registration form, and they will get in contact with you. So make sure you contact them. If you are one of these students with a eligible accommodation, academic accommodation. So that's my number one is recommendation is connect with them. They're a great office. Either you can call that number with an appointment after May 8th. You can email them. I would encourage you to go on their website. They have great information about how to schedule, and about the services that they provide. And so, again, they will help accommodate you. So you can see we serve a huge amount of our population. Right now, about 500 of our students are registered with the Student Accessibility Services Office. So please, I encourage you, don't be hesitant to register with the office. And, it's a little different than high school where, parents were involved at that point, and with the 504 plans, this is all kind of put on the student. The student has to initiate with and get registered with the office. So really, if you are a student with that, don't hesitate to reach out to them, because they're a great service on campus, and that many students use it, whether it's a controlled test environment, whether it's extended time on tests, any of whatever accommodation is that is deemed appropriate for your condition, they can help you with that. And so please reach out to them. Again, on the advising and registration form, click that box, and then you can get in contact with them. They will get in contact with you sometime over the summer.
Yeah, I can also say from a faculty perspective, everybody on campus appreciates this office. I mean, this is really for the students, right? And this is not something, I am so appreciative when students register. As part of this office, I get notified, they can help. There's just a line of communication that is set up between the student and the faculty member. And, for any parent out there or student out there, I mean, this is a huge piece that we offer, along with some other services that you're going to hear about that are really meant to help make this whole entire college experience doable and set the student up for academic success, right? Okay, let's move on to some more fun stuff. Teresa, I'm going to finally get it right. I'm going to pass it over to you, and we talk about our brand new Academic Skills Center.
Okay, So I'm Teresa Anderson from the Academic Skills Center, St. Ben's and St. John's, which is a new service that will open with the start of fall semester. If you participated or watched the recording of the April 6th webinar, you heard my take on going from high school to college as kind of taking a pretty significant work promotion. You've got good skills, you're qualified for this new job, but you know that you're going to need to adapt and learn to do some new things in order to have that same level of success. And that's what the Academic Skills Center is here to support you in doing, to take some of the mystery out of what those things are and ways to adapt that are minimal stress and maximum benefit. Since we're talking a little bit about things to do over the course of the summer, I've been reviewing a survey that we gave to our incoming students last fall and paying really close attention to what they thought they would need and want in terms of academic skills coming in. So I want to share a couple of highlights about those with you and some ideas for how you can practice this kind of low-key over the summer that will still be helpful to you. The #1 challenge that students noted that they thought they were going to encounter was time management, and like all capital letters, bolded, italicized, all the things. And the need to thoughtfully choose how they spend their time. Up to that point, through high school, your schedules are kind of made for you. You're just busy in classes all day, and then after school activities, and then you study in those couple of hours at night that you have. You will have much more need to decide how to spend your time, especially during the daylight hours in college. So this summer, you can practice this by maybe setting some goals for yourself each week and then creating a plan for what you'll do every day toward those goals. Work on holding yourself accountable for those things. It could be work, exercise, maybe you want to create some art, spend time with friends, do some reading, really make a plan for how you're going to accomplish those things. The second most common challenge that students noted was around studying. I think that as you make this transition, probably a better phrase to think about instead of studying is really independent learning. And this is something that I think you can do easily every day. So independent learning, I think, includes reading before class in the fall, and reading for understanding, making meaning by asking yourself questions as you go and looking for the answers. And ways to practice this really is just to read something every day. It could be a novel, it could be a newspaper or magazine article, it could probably even be the manual for a car, right? But just make some meaning out of it. Talk with others about what you're reading and learning so you can practice those skills. Also in the mix was an idea about responsibility or greater responsibility for yourselves, for self-advocacy, and deciding what your priorities are. So you will decide your priorities, you will choose what you want to accomplish each day, and reminders for what you need to do are going to come from you as a student. Ways to practice this summer would be, I don't know, maybe after graduation. Take some time to write out some goals and priorities, make a plan for how you're going to keep track of the things we're talking about tonight, the housing forms, advising and registration form, language placement exams, health forms, the process for getting yourself all set up for fall. How will you take responsibility for those things? And how will you communicate with others so everybody knows what's going on? If you have questions, definitely look for the answers and then reach out for information. Carrie Shane is exactly right. The academic advising registrar's office has it. We answer phones and we're excited to talk to you over the summer. So make good use of that. And then, if circumstances allow, try and do some things like just commit to getting up and about at about the same time every day in the summer so that you've got some habits that make that transition a little easier. Talk with your friends and family about how you're accomplishing these things, share with them what works and what doesn't. Seek advice, reach out to people for inspiration or a buddy system if you need it. But I think the more you can practice these in an easy way with low stakes over the summer, the easier and smoother your fall semester is. So a reminder, I'll close with a reminder from last time. This as you build these and other academic skills, you will also build confidence, expertise, and leadership capacity. And doing that is a great way to start your college career. Set you up for big achievements later.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And another one of my favorite people, Kyle Lingard and Kayla from our St. Ben's and St. John's Writing Centers.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie, Shane, and I'm happy to take the baton from Teresa. One of the things she mentioned was, ways to thrive, to seek resources with purpose. So the Writing Center is really just that. It's a resource that we hope you'll find useful, and what we offer is a resource if you're working on a writing assignment from really any class. It might be your learning foundations or learning explorations, or it might be a lab report, or even a capstone or senior thesis down the road. But really the core of it, I'm the director, but the core of what we offer is delivered by our team of about 15 current undergraduate peer tutors. So these tutors are from a range of majors. Yeah, we have quite a few who are education majors or English majors, but we also have tutors on staff that are in nursing, political science, environmental studies, and others. So I wanted to kind of model what I just said and turn it over to one of the tutors to tell you a little bit more about what an appointment might look like, and just to tell you a bit more about the writing centers. So Kayla.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kayla. I'm a senior now here at St. Ben's and St. John's, which is really sad. And I am a double major history and English. So a lot of reading, a lot of writing. But I love working at the Writing Center so much because I get to meet more people and hear from so many different majors and read so many different things, learn so many different things. But the main thing we do is, as student tutors, is we have 30-minute to an hour appointments available that you can schedule with us for any sort of writing assignment at any stage in the writing process. So from brainstorming to final drafts, we can help you with everything. Even presentations, you can come give presentations to us and we'll help with those. So really, really don't be afraid to schedule appointments with us in the Hive for any class you might have or assignment. And it's really fun. A normal appointment kind of looks like you'll come in, we'll kind of get a feel for what class you're coming in for, what questions you might have, and then we'll read through your paper together out loud. So we can kind of address any questions that may arise or anything we see that you could improve upon. So yeah, it's a good time.
Awesome. And I'm kind of singing your praises. I'm going to put this in, I just put this in the chat. I really want everybody to know out there, like this just isn't a boring writing center, right? Kyle and his amazing staff of students tomorrow night in Goretzky, they're hosting a night against procrastination for students from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's these little touches that like make a center like the Writing Center come to the students, right? You also had that, can you say something about that weekly program? I'm blanking on the fun name, but like students could just drop in. What was that? It was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, we have collaborative studio. Yes. Yep, 3 evenings a week at the St. Ben's location. So people can just kind of come in and work on their projects and have a tutor nearby if questions come up.
Awesome.
Yeah, and certainly if you happen to stop by the St. Ben's Writing Center at 9 a.m., Most days of the week, Kayla and I are in there doing the Wordle together. So we do have fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I am going to say a few words to piggyback off of the Writing Center. I'm going to be speaking for my colleague, Brian Nyholm. He is in charge of the Math Center, very similar to our Writing Center on campus. The Math Center, look at another group of friendly students, right? I could not work at the Math Center. That's all I'm going to say. I think I would be employed by the Writing Center. But I mean, these amazing group of students are there to help students with their math, right? And it sounds pretty simple and straightforward. And yes, it is. And let me tell you, do the students begin to realize that it is there? Yeah, simple. They help students better understand their math questions. 2 locations, right? One at St. Ben's, one at St. John's, when Sunday through Friday. And you know, I think what's really important, both with the Math Center and the Writing Center, we are meeting students where they're at, right? This isn't an office that's open from, you know, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., right? I mean, these offices are open when students are doing their homework, right? So I know Brian couldn't be here, but seriously, it's open to anyone. And I think the huge part is it doesn't matter what level of math, right? And it's definitely something that we stress in the college success course, to not sit back. Both the Writing Center and the Math Center, student run with student tutors. These are committed students that want to help their peers, right? Okay, oops, I went too far. I'm gonna finally turn it over to Sarah. And let me just say, this is super important for us to also highlight our amazing library staff. So Sarah, take it away.
Thank you, Carrie Shane. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Wertz, and I'm one of the librarians here at St. Ben's St. John's Libraries. Welcome to St. Ben's and St. John's. My colleagues and I are excited to work with you during your time here. You can think of the libraries as a combination of 3 essential elements: the library's buildings, the library's online and print resources, and the library's people. First, we have 2 main library buildings: Elkman Library and the Reinhardt Learning Commons at St. John's, and Clemens Library at St. Ben's. St. Ben's also has a separate music library in the Benedicta Arts Center. You could check out books, media equipment, games, DVDs, and other materials from any of these locations using your student ID as your library card. 2, regarding our resources, the libraries provide access to extensive print and electronic resources. We have subscriptions to over 200 different library databases or collections of journal, magazine, and newspaper articles. If you're living off campus or can't make it to the physical library for some or other reasons, you can access over 1 million ebooks through our library catalog, which is the main search box on the library homepage. If we don't own it, we will either purchase it for our library or we can request the item from another library. Basically, we're going to do everything possible to make sure that you can find the trusted academic sources you need for college level research papers and assignments. We also subscribe to newspapers like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, Star Tribune, which you can access freely using an app from our library pages. Finally, the library's people, we have dedicated friendly library staff and student employees who are ready to help you at our information desk. You can also get in touch with any questions via email, a phone call, or by using chat. You can also meet with any of the librarians one-on-one for research projects. The CSB+SJU libraries are yours, so please get familiar with the library spaces, take advantage of the library services, and avail yourselves of the library resources. Please feel free to contact me with any questions, and I'll put that in the chat, my email address. We're looking forward to seeing you in the fall, and I hope you have a wonderful summer. Thank you, Carrie Shane.
Thank you. And yes, I want to give a little bit of a plug to the fact that we'll be talking about student employment and financial aid in about late June. And I got to tell you, any of these people that have been on these webinars, these are the people you want to work for, right? I mean, they're all in a little bit of competition with each other, but I mean, fabulous people to work for, whether you want to go into the academic advising office, work in the library, work for the Academic Skills Center or the Writing Center, all of that stuff, the available student employment jobs are going to be available on our student employment website. And so, I mean, start playing around now, looking around at what's possible, and we will circle back and talk about student employment later in June, once you get through graduation and all that fun stuff. Thanks so much, Sarah, for joining us to talk about the libraries.
Thank
and
you.
I can testify that there is never a book I have never gotten in 18 years, right? So, amen. All right. What's coming up next? I wanted to say a few final words before we jump into some more Q&A about the second platform that your students going to be introduced to over the summer, and that is what we call the Hive. It is literally this digital platform that's going to link students, faculty, advisors, and all the student services together in one place. So what's really nice, if I talk about it from a faculty standpoint, if I know that I need to reach a student or I'm trying to talk to a student, I can send them a message in the Hive. The student can also see when I have office hours, right? And so rather than the student and I exchanging 20 emails to try to find a time to meet, faculty members put their office hours in the Hive, and students can then go and sign up for meetings, right? So it makes it pretty slick for a student and a faculty member to be able to see each other. The other nice thing too is that students can get some quick direct feedback, right? So throughout different stages in the semester, faculty will be asked to send the student a message like, keep up the great work, right? Hey, you're showing improvement, right? And so sometimes it's a nice way for a student to just be able to track and understand things. The other thing that we're going to be able to do in the Hive is that the student is going to be able to see their success plan, right? And what I did is, in this next slide, I took a screenshot, right? And I wanted you to see that what the student ends up seeing is a direct link to anyone that teaches them. And then they'll also see links like, oh, here's the link to academic advising. Here's the link to athletics, right? Here is the link to campus ministry or the college success course. So really the Hive is a way to put all students and faculty and all of the student services we offer into one entire platform. So students aren't going and faculty aren't going and clicking multiple links, right? And it's really just a slick way for us to communicate and talk with each other. And a student is going to be able to see everybody from their faculty member, their advisor, their the professional staff in the residence halls, as well as their coaches, right? So, you know, if I know a student needs help or a coach wants to talk to me, everybody can be in communication and making sure that that the student is succeeding in getting the help that she or he actually needs. So, I mean, we have 15 minutes for questions. And I want to again stress that just because we're talking about academic advising and our academic resources, you might have a burning question about the bed loft link. You might have a question about involvement. You just might have a question about roommates or whatever you need. So we certainly are here to answer some things. And Kayla, I just can't help but, I mean, you are on here. So I know you talked about the Writing Center, but would you mind actually sharing with us, like, wow, it's senior year. What are some things you want these first years to know? What's in the first year bucket list?
That is a loaded question.
I know.
And I'm like seeing all this stuff, like creating your email. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh man, bucket list, visit the Writing Center and the libraries. Outside of that, I think the one thing this year I regret is not getting out and enjoying campus while it's warm. So first year, go to Lake Sag, go hike all the trails in the Arb, go do all the things outside that you can. That would be my advice to first years right now. What else? I don't
What
know.
are some other fun things that you've done over the years that you think are like memorable?
Going to the clubs and talks that are really fun, like that are advertised on the bulletin app. Like I check the bulletin app every morning. I'm like, is there anything in the next week that's going to be fun that I can go to?
Yep.
So just making sure you go to like club events and that kind of thing, because there's so many clubs put on exciting events that you can just go to for free, which is so cool. So yeah, I'm like blanking on any club events, but there are also really cool like plays that you can go to, and I forget who just visited, the musicians, I forget, but they performed at the BAC and it was so cool.
Yeah, yes, we have a tremendous fine art series. Yep, absolutely. I think I think for a lot of students, you kind of forget that both of the campuses are just surrounded by amazing wilderness, right? So whether you're talking about Lake Sarah at St. Ben's or Lake Sag at St. John's, and if any of you were on the involvement webinar we did, Kyle Rao and his team at Outdoor University just did a fabulous job of showing all the different ways that you can get involved in the campus programs that have to do with getting outdoors. And I think the really cool thing is there's lots of equipment available to rent, right? So you need a bike, not a problem. We're going to be able to rent it for you. You want to go out canoeing, you've got a canoe to rent, right? It was super fun to see both campuses this year have ice rinks, right? To be able to ice skate and do that kind of stuff. So definitely a bonus. Okay, I see a question that has popped up. Global business majors, do they spend most of their time at SJU or the CSB campus? Do you want to answer that, Sharon? And I can also say something too.
Yeah, most of the global business faculty are housed at the St. John's campus. So once you get into kind of the sophomore level courses and the 300 level courses, those will mostly be housed at St. John's. But for your first year, you'll have to take an accounting and an econ and a math course. And both econ and math are housed at St. Ben's campus. So you will take a couple courses your first year for that major at St. Ben's. Accounting is also at St. John's. So it really depends, kind of what department you're taking the course in. But global business courses, those courses, once you get into the department, will be at St. John's. But you will always have a mix, most likely, of courses on both campus, because there's different departments housed on both campuses. So, your theology may be at St. Ben's, and your, history might be at St. Ben's, but your biology would be at St. John's, but your chemistry would be at St. Ben's. So it's really going to be a combination, but we really try as advisors when we are making your schedule to make you not be on the bus all day. So
Right.
like if you're a St. John's student, we're not going to make you to come to St. Ben's, then go back to St. John's, then go back to St. Ben's and in the same day. So we really, that's a nice thing about having experienced advisors make your schedule, is we will not schedule you for anything with a time conflict that you can't get to, or that you are spending all your time all day on this back and forth. At least not more than once in a day. So be assured of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would also say, I know this might seem silly to say, but like there are 2 dining halls, there are 2 libraries, right? So I mean, you're kind of like getting double of the best of everything, right? So I mean, it's not like you're only eating at like if you're a St. John's student, you don't just eat at St. John's. You have access at St. Ben's, right? And just because you're a St. Ben's student doesn't mean you don't go into the library at St. John's. Like you literally have double of everything, right? Of many of the major things. Even if you you could work out at St. Ben's, you can work out at St. John's, and sometimes there's special hours, dedicated, like at St. Ben's, they have female only hours, but I mean, you do have access to those resources. Okay, and Sharon, there's another question popping up that is super great. Do we meet with an advisor to register?
You will not meet with an advisor to register. So you will fill that form out sometime in May, the advising and registration form online in the forms portal. So you fill that form out and it gets submitted. And then starting June, the advisors in our office will take that information and we will register you based on that information. If we have questions, let's say you put down 2 different majors that are totally different first semester schedules. Let's say you put pre-engineering and you put pre-med, right? So those kind of two paths might mean different things for your first semester. So then we might call you and say, you know what, which one are you leaning towards, so that we can feel, should you be in biology and chemistry or should you be in physics and cal, you know? So kind of a feeling, if we have questions, we certainly will call you. But then on August 1st, you will have access to those, and then you can call and talk to an advisor if you have questions about why did you get registered for this, or we missed something, like, oh, you have a conflict with this and we really, you know, I can't make this. We can try to find a different schedule, a different, you know, time for that class, and, you know, different section. So just be assured that what we registered you for is not set in stone. You will have time the whole month of August to talk to advising, and so that you feel really good about your first semester schedule. And don't feel like you have to have it all figured out when you're filling out the form. You don't have to have a for sure answer. If you're thinking of 2 different things, if you're trying to decide between 2 areas, put both of them down so that we can maybe give you one course in both. So you can, the first semester can help you decide which path you want to go. So just realize that what you fill out in May doesn't have to be that be all end all. We can, you know, work with you throughout the whole summer to make sure that you're feeling really good about your first semester schedule.
Yeah, and I would just come back and say too, you know, I think we realize that everything we're sort of piling in front of you in this webinar right now is a lot to take in, right? You still have this wonderful event called your high school graduation looming, right? In early June. And so we are going to repeat this webinar, right? We're going to be able to add some specifics. And by doing the Beginning the Journey course, that online orientation course, we're going to be providing you all of these reminders starting in mid-June. So if you're sitting there as a student, an incoming student, or maybe a parent going, when did that lady in April say the schedule was going to be ready? We're going to be notifying you of that all summer. We're really not leaving you hanging between now and the time that you're going to show up in August, right? All of those reminders, all of the resources that we've talked about, you're going to be asked to engage them over the summer in the Beginning of the Journey course, even if it's just like, hey, remember that this resource exists, right? But, you know, Sharon in the Office of Academic Advising, they're going to be popping back on in a summer webinar saying, hey, we're getting ready. We're making the schedules. They're going to go live August 1st. You might be saying to yourself, well, how do I access that schedule? All that information is going to be in the webinar, right, that we're going to do this summer. It's going to be in the Beginning the Journey course, and it's going to be in your email, right? Like, the Office of Academic Advising is going to email you how to do all this stuff, right? So it's not like you're getting one dose of information. You're going to get multiple doses of information. And by having all of that information housed in the Beginning the Journey course, that information doesn't go away. Like it's not going to disappear on you all summer, right? And so anything that Sharon's office sends out, any information that Kyle's office or Teresa's office would send out, or even Sarah's office, anything from Res Life, sure, they're going to email you, right? But we're also going to put it in the Beginning the Journey course, right? And you're going to be able to find it in one single spot. And Jody, I don't know if you're on, we've got a great question. Can you get a single your first year, like no roommate and just a room to yourself? I don't know if you're on or not, Jody, but I feel like I could answer this in some ways because I've heard you answer this. Right, well, I'm going to jump in, and any of you on this call, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I could imitate Jody Tirhar right now, and that's a compliment. You know, we don't have singles, right? Because we believe in beginning this process of learning to live in community, right? And so again, in that housing and questionnaire form, We talked about last week, we want you to answer it honestly, kind of like the language placement test. Don't start making up answers, right? If you are a person that wants to go to bed, you know, at a decent hour, say that. Don't be the person that says, hey, I'm a night owl, right? Because really that housing and questionnaire form is meant to do its magic. And I see you, Jody. So do you want to jump in?
Yes.
I was trying to be you.
Sorry, the internet in St. Joe is having difficulty with its connection. So I apologize for not being able to jump in as quickly. So I do want to clarify, we do have single rooms that are available. I'm speaking for St. Ben's. We do have single rooms that are available for students. If that's the request, make sure, Carrie Shane, you are correct to include that information or that special note on the housing form that you submit. I think there are also there are single rooms at St. John's, but they're much more limited in numbers. So if you're an incoming St. John's student, you might want to reach out directly to the residential life office to inquire with them about how you might go about requesting that or letting that need be known. The other way that students indicate a need for a single room might be because there's an accommodation of some type that is needed. And that request is made through the Student Accessibilities Office, which was a resource that was mentioned earlier this evening. I would just say probably the best and most efficient thing would be to contact the respective residential life office for the campus where you will be living come this fall.
See, I knew I couldn't be you 100%. So there you go.
You're so close, Carrie Shane. You were really close.
So close, but yeah. And is the Beginning the Journey course on June 15th, or when is that? Yeah. So what's going to happen around mid-June is you're going to get an invitation in your email to join this course, right? So nothing you need to do, right? We're going to be opening it up. And of course, we know you might have a life on June 15th, right? So it's not like you have to open it right away on June 15th and start. We've got everything planned out. We're not going to ask you to sit around on July 4th and do an assignment, right? Because we know it's July 4th. We're all going to be doing something else on July 4th too. We're not going to be looking at that orientation show. So for sure, you'll be getting plenty of notices. Don't worry, the first year experience will bug you, right? We will bug you, we will find you, we will offer you the invitation to participate and whatnot. So about a minute left for any questions. So any more final questions, send them our way. And just remember, you need to go back and get some information from these webinars. Feel free to go back and watch the previous ones. Okay, here's a good question. In addition to the required courses in GPA, what are other requirements for the Honor Scholars Programs participants? So what I'm gonna, who's ever asking this, what I'm gonna actually ask you to do is actually go onto the website for the Honors Scholars program, because they're actually gonna, on the website, they're gonna tell you what is happening. And Kayla, are you in honors? Oh, see, you come in handy again. Why don't you say something?
Yeah, the honors program is great. If you have any questions, you can email Beth Wengler and I can put her email. I can send her email to you. But it is great. I have to be honest, I don't know much about it since they restructured the program because I'm still under the old.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And remember, if you go onto our website and you look at the A to Z index, right? You can look on Honor Scholars. All the information that we've been sharing with you tonight is all available on the website, right? I know that's not always as fun, right? But what we are going to do when we send the link out to say you can watch this again is Tom just has been collecting this massive list of links of where you can go to. And when he sends the email basically thanking you for attending tonight, you're going to see that link to all of those things. So I want to be respectful of people's times. Here it is. It's 8:31. It's the end of April. We're still cold, but we're getting super excited, right? Because even though we are excited for your high school graduation, we're even more secretly excited for you to show up in August, right? So thanks to all the panelists for giving your time tonight. Kayla, great to see you. Enjoy these last few weeks. We won't say the G word, right? But well done, Kayla.
Thank you.
And thanks for attending.